everyone, it's Kit.Nicole and I'm back with another Operation Christmas Child related video. I do have like some final boxing ups that I'm going to post, but I have to, they're not ready, so we're doing this. In terms of boxing ups, I know there's usually a question about what not to send. It's been a couple years since my last video. The only thing is, like, I'm Canadian, so I'm just looking at the Canadian, my last video was just looking at the Canadian list. There are some differences. There's 11 sending countries, which are Canada, the US, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, South Korea, Spain, and Finland. Actually, there's like a little asterisk in terms of like the Germany, Austria, Switzerland group. So it's like there's 11 countries in total, but it should be 11.1 because apparently South Tyrol, which is I think the most northern province of Italy, also participates because they're like right on the border, everything. But anyways, I digress. There's differences. And I wanted to do this I wanted to do this last year, but last year was so crazy. I wish I did though, because there were some changes this year, but whatever. We're doing this. I'm doing an ultimate do not send list for Operation Christmas Child. Sorry, that was a long intro. Also, I'm wearing my glasses. They're not new. I just finished work and they're anti-glare and that makes it easier to look at the screen. So yeah. Anyways, so here are the things that the different sending countries cannot accept in the shoe boxes. A lot of these are largely due to customs regulations. So it is what it is. And I will forewarn you, this list is a little bit scattered. I tried to group it a little bit by the most common items and then, yeah, so. It was an adventure. I am also very glad Google has like the little translate button. That helped. Also, Spain and Finland, those were the hardest websites to find. Mainly because if you type in like OC, like Operation Christmas Child Spain, it'll first link you to the Spanish version of the US website. So managed to find that. Finland, that branch is actually like operated by, it looked like a radio station, not by Samaritan's Purse, but they are still kind of partnered. It's a little weird. Maybe I'll do a video about all the differences between the sending countries, but yeah, we're 3 minutes in. Let's get right to this. Okay, so the first one on the list is candy, and this includes gum, it includes chocolate, gummies, hard candies, powdered candies, everything, just candy in general. So for Canada, the US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, Spain, and Finland, no candies, and that's just simply customs. On the flip side though, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland can accept candy, but it does come with a stipulation. It is advised to not include it as they're not acceptable in non-EU countries. If the shoeboxes are going to an EU country, candy is acceptable, and it didn't quite say, but I think like the hard candies. Also, you have to make sure that the candies are good until March of the following year. So if you're packing year-round, make sure candies are the last thing you include right before collection time. But yeah, so there you go. Let's see, the next one is food in general. Absolutely not. No food. Drink mixes, no. Toothpaste can be sent in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And just so you know, those three countries kind of share a website. That's why we're grouping them together. Everyone else, Canada, US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, Spain, Finland, no toothpaste. But yeah, the Germanic countries, yes, you can send toothpaste. Now, liquids, lotions, lip balms, no. Absolutely no liquids. Now, the only exception to that is if you're sending those, those levelers, the liquid inside that is so minute that if it was to break, it wouldn't really cause damage to the box. And it's like well below custom standards. So that was the only exception I could find, and that was more specifically mentioned on the Canadian US websites, not so much the others. But if you have any questions, reach out to your local website, because there's an email address and they'll be able to get back to you. Medications or vitamins, new. On the US website, it does mention like this also includes like medicated lip balms or anything like that. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely no medicated items, like not even like medicated band-aids or things like that. So none of that, please. Seeds, nope. Now, the Finland website didn't specifically mention seeds, but I'm going to take it as a no. I will have all the sites linked in the description, just in case anyone has any questions. Oh yeah, going back to the toothpaste thing, when coming to Finland, you can't send toothpaste, but if you are sending toothbrushes, they do have a disclaimer to keep the toothbrushes in their original packaging. I know here in Canada, you can take them out, like repackage them in cellophane bags, make like little toothbrush kits. In Finland, they specifically ask keep it in their original packaging. So that's that. Damaged or used items, no. This is not a thrift campaign. Operation Christmas Child is not a thrift campaign. They want new items, or if you could say, or especially, I'll preface it with like new. Something new, something that does not look like it's being used. The children can tell when things are being used. They do have those street smarts. There was a note on the Germany website, though. They say especially do not send used clothing. So no hand-me-downs, that kind of thing. And also there was a little note, it sounded like do not pre-wash the clothing either if you're in Germany, Austria, or Switzerland. Not quite sure if that was like just a odd translation for sending as new, but yeah. In terms of used, let's see, used food containers. Canada specifically, it mentions do not. The other websites do not specifically mention it, but kind of lump it in. If it's used, please don't send. Like those like the little Altoids tins, try not to send, or the cookie tins. I think that might have something to do with like residue, or maybe it could cause challenges at the border, because they think like, hey, there's food in this thing, and then you have to go in and open it all up, and yeah. So that's that. Glass containers, no. And that was specifically mentioned in Canada, the Germanic countries, South Korea, Spain, no glass because it's breakable. Medicine bottles, that is a no in Canada and Germany because they're used. US, there is a note that you can reuse medicine bottles, but again, it has to be clean, the label taken off. The other countries, UK, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, Spain, Finland, they didn't mention it on their website. So if you have any questions, reach out and ask your local website. Snow globes, those are a no, because 1, glass, 2, liquid. Now, scary items or witchcraft related items. No, absolutely not. The only exception to this is like bugs, snakes, etc., as long as it's not looking overly scary. Try not to include like skull or crossbones or Halloween related items. Part of it is because these boxes are supposed to represent Christ, and sometimes these boxes are going to very superstitious areas, so proper balance. War related items, no. Now this does kind of couple in squirt guns. In Canada, it is noted that squirt guns are okay as long as it does not look like a real gun. So like the nice colorful ones. Let's see. But in the UK, squirt guns are not okay. Doesn't matter if it's colorful or not. If it's in the shape of a gun, no. So specifically in Canada, squirt guns are okay. UK, squirt guns are not. There wasn't anything else on the other websites. Again, reach out and ask in regards to those specific items. But in general, war-related items are a no. That being said, camouflage. I like the way the Canadian website describes it. If a child can look like a soldier wearing it, no. So like camouflage hats and shirts and pants, those kinds of things, no. Camouflage related items, those like pencils or pencil pack, those are acceptable. Now, pretty much that's kind of the vibe how it goes with all the other websites. Germany, Austria, and Switzerland did not mention it specifically, so again, reach out and ask in regards to that. But if you want to err on the safe side, consider it a war-related one, so it's advised not to send. Aerosol cans, nope. Finland didn't mention it, but I'm going to say there's issues with customs, plus it's also, some of these are shipped by plane. You don't want it exploding in the box. Playing cards. So, as of 2024, in Canada, playing cards are now allowable. For years, they weren't. Playing cards are now allowable in Canada. And by playing cards, we're talking about like the 4 suite, Jack, King, Queen, those ones. So Canada, US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and Spain, those are all acceptable. Germany, Austria, and Switzerland are not. South Korea and Finland did not specify. And dice, same thing in Canada. As of 2024, you can now send dice in your boxes, so individual or with a game. It was kind of like really strict in prior years that if a game had dice, you couldn't send it, or you had to like switch it out for a spinner. But now it is totally acceptable. So Canada, US, Germany, Austria, Switzerland can all accept dice. All the other countries did not specify. So like, if you have questions, reach out to your local website. I'm going to say that a lot. Batteries. So batteries are acceptable in Canada, US, UK, and Australia, New Zealand. And just a moment here. Now, if you're sending from Australia and New Zealand, it must be in the original packaging. So you can't like take it out, tape the ends or anything. In the US, they do have a mention that try to tape the ends if you are separating it out, just to not cause issues. All the other countries did not specify on their website, so you know what to do. So CDs and DVDs, yes, you can. They can be sent in Canada, US, and Australia, New Zealand. Just keep in mind that the child might not have access to a like CD or DVD player. So pray, if you feel inclined to send it, pray about it first. Wasn't mentioned on the other websites. Paint or glue, no. The only exception to paint or glue is glue sticks or dry paint. Those are fine, but if it's in liquid form, no. Simply put. Tool items, and I'm just going to clarify what we mean by tool items. It's pretty much anything tool related except for saws or pocket knives. Those of any kind cannot be allowed. And that's simply customs, regulations, and it's also could be viewed as a weapon depending on where it is going. On the US website, they did mention it's best to avoid, well, first off, I'll say this in terms of tools: Canada, US, UK, New Zealand, Australia, and Spain, yes, you can send tools. The US website does have like a little notes to try to avoid a complete tool set. It's better to go with the individual pieces. It might have something to do with customs, or just to like avoid that saw knife thing. Not sure if that's what they advise. Scissors, yes, you can send scissors. Just make sure it is the blunt tip safety scissors, or as more specifically mentioned on the Germany website, not the pointed scissors. So just make sure it's like the safety style with the rounded end. So let's see, oh yeah, scissors. The only one not mentioned was Finland, but I'm gonna think that's okay. Glow sticks. In Canada and the US, yes, you can send glow sticks, and that's because the packaging of the glow sticks, it's thick enough that if say it was to like get cracked in the box, it's very difficult to break and it's not going to spill out. So those are acceptable. UK, Australia, New Zealand, they are not acceptable. All the other countries, it was not mentioned. Wet wipes in Canada, US, and Australia, New Zealand, yes, those are acceptable. Was not mentioned on the other websites, so you know what to do. Reach out if you have questions. Okay, so Play-Doh, it is acceptable to send in Canada, US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and Spain. South Korea and Finland did not mention. There is a couple notes that in the US, they do specifically mention to make sure it's store-bought, so no homemade stuff. And Australia, New Zealand, coupled together with Play-Doh, wax crayons were also mentioned. You can send wax crayons now. I know up until I think a couple years ago, Play-Doh wax crayons were a no-no, because when they were gathered in shoe boxes, things would get so hot that it would just like melt and degrade. And I think they've been able to resolve that issue, so they're now sendable. Compact mirrors. Canada, US, UK, Spain, it's acceptable. I'm questioning this now if I just didn't mark it down, but I think it was Australia, New Zealand, compact mirrors were still a no. The other websites did not mention. So the reason why compact mirrors are acceptable in some of the countries is because it is closed, so if it was to break, everything is contained. Let's see, matches, Canada, US, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, no. The other sites did not mention. The next few are going to be like a little bit more specific, more so to like the Canada, US. Superheroes, logos, makeup. Those are acceptable in the Canadian and US shoeboxes. None of the other websites mentioned it. Let's see now. Okay, yeah, this one's going to be a little interesting. Gospel related. There are some questions about that. So in general, in Canada and the US, you can send gospel related items. So that could be like little Bible storybooks or things like that, or like little crosses or stickers or whatnot. Those are acceptable. In Australia and New Zealand, items with phrases like Jesus loves you or a little Bible verse or related toys and crafts, those are acceptable, but gospel tracts are not. Now, the reasoning for this is because they are already sending the Greatest Journey discipleship program. So if the kids participate, they will be getting a Bible in their own language. And it's just to kind of help prevent confusion over things. In the UK, they specifically mentioned to not send gospel-related items, again, for the confusion aspect. There's also a little note, do not send political-related items in the UK boxes. So I guess that might have been an issue. The other countries did not specify. So if you're concerned, reach out and ask. But if I know some people might have concerns like, about gospel-related items, generally, yes, you can put it in. There may be special processing times, though, where stuff might be taken out. But from what or what I remember, another shoeboxer in the States posted, she actually volunteered at the processing center during a special processing time. And what they had done was, I think it was, certain churches in the area were asked to pack very specific boxes. So these boxes had absolutely like nothing, were very plain. They didn't have any logos or designs on it. They were just very plain boxes. There was certain items, additional items on their do not send list that they had to make sure to take out. So like religious items, pigs, dolls with removable clothing were just a few of the items. And that's because those boxes were designated for more sensitive areas. In general, though, if you feel that to put in gospel-related item, that's okay. So to reiterate that, in Canada, US, it is okay to put gospel-related items. Australia, New Zealand, it is restricted to small items or like toys or like just little phrases or things like that. UK, no. The other countries, you would have to reach out and ask. Now, natural sand, rock, or shells, anything that's natural, you cannot send those. And that's specific to Canada, US, UK, and South Korea. And the reason for that is customs. It sounds strange because it's like, what? It's just sand, it's just rocks. If it's natural, please no. If it's fake, though, yes, you can send it. So like those colored sounds or kinetic sounds, it's fine. If it's like a cement looking, if it's like a rock made out of cement, that's fine. Or those plastic shells, that's fine. But the natural stuff, no. Wood is acceptable. That's all I could find is generally wood is acceptable. Just because a lot of stuff is made out of wood. So a little hard to argue against that. Money or even play money, that is a no. And that's specific to Canada, US, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and Finland. Please do not send money or play money because that can cause issues where these boxes end up. And also at the processing centers, the volunteers are instructed to remove any money found in the boxes because they're told to forward that for donations. So baby powder, that was mentioned in the US as a no. None of the other countries mentioned it. Same thing with baking soda. Slime, the US website does mention it is acceptable. But they do specify it has to be store-bought, not homemade. None of the other websites mentioned any of those three items, just so you know. Homemade crafts, Yes, you can send those in the UK, the US, and Canada. A specific note though, in the US, make sure the filling is synthetic, such as plastic beads or pellets. Again, no sand, rice, or anything like that. In the UK, they also had a special note that, again, any stuffing needs to be proper toy stuffing. Don't use dried beans or newspaper or even old rags. Do not include those as stuffing. The materials must be new or look new and not previously worn, marked, or damaged. Toys made from recycled wood are fine. Let's see, but crafts made from obviously recycled waste items such as bottle tops cannot be sent. So I kind of like the way UK broke it down. That could go for all the others in regards to craft items. Don't send stuff that looks all recycled. Send something that looks quality and new. I know the Canadian website does specify quality crafts. So just keep that in mind. Don't send an old dirty sock puppet. Send something new, something fresh. You can send a sock puppet, but again, make sure it's new material. So, and make sure it lasts. It's like not something that's glued together and it's going to fall off easily. Next up, fishing kits. Those are acceptable in Canada, US, and Australia, New Zealand. Was not specified on the other websites. Sewing kits, Canada, US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and Spain. Those are acceptable. Again, the other sites did not mention. Soap. I know this is such a controversial item right now, mostly because of things going on in the US. But in Canada, US, UK, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Spain, and Finland, soap is acceptable. Now there is an asterisk. The reason why there's like some drama in regards to soap is in the US, as of 2025, from what I've heard, and I've heard it from a few different sources, it will be discontinued in 2025. This is the last year you can put soap in your shoe boxes and it'll be accepted. Their website does note that there's no specific requirements for packing soap. Same thing on the Canadian website. Yeah, as the official note on their website, that there's more increasing regulatory concern. They say if you are packing this year, keep it in the original packaging, that there's an expiration date of at least 6 months after collection week. Don't send homemade soap. Though they do say at this time all types of bar soaps are acceptable to pack regardless of what kind or how. The only reason soap may need to be removed would be in the unlikely event that it has grown mold or mildew, rendering it unsafe to send. They state that it's rare, but they actually, what's interesting, they noted that it can happen when soap and washcloths are placed together in airtight containers. And that, and if they're stored in temperatures ideal for organic growth. And that's really interesting because I have seen a lot of people try pack the soap and the washcloth together. They say not to, and I'm thinking that's because the washcloth absorbs the moisture from the soap, and I don't know, it's a good breeding ground for mold and mildew. From my experience, I've always packed soap in a separate bag. I have noticed though that sometimes the paper on the soap can feel a bit moist. So I have let those out to dry for a night, and then I'll pack it in the bags. And checking over some of those ones that I haven't noticed any mildew issues. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, from what I've heard, soap can be looks like it'll be discontinued in 2025 in the US. For Canada, UK, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Spain, and Finland, it is still okay. For the German countries, they do advise not to send strong smelling soap, so try to keep it like scent free pretty much. Menstrual kits, those are acceptable in Canada, US, UK. The other websites did not mention. Last one, literature. This is actually kind of interesting. So Canada, US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, those ones, yes, you can send, and this is separate from gospel related, you can send books. There's usually, like, note that I found is like try to send more picture books with fewer words, just because of language differences. What's really interesting to note, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, picture books without words are okay, but based on what I saw on the website, absolutely no literature. So no books or anything like that with words. I'm not sure if that applies to shirts or anything like that. If you're in Germany, reach out to your local office to inquire. But yeah, that was actually really interesting. Literally nothing with words in the German boxes, aside from your letter. The letter is okay. But the other countries, yeah, that's fine. South Korea, Spain, and Finland, no. Or actually, sorry, no, it was not mentioned. So again, reach out and ask. But that is everything. This has been a half hour. I'm sorry for my rambling at the beginning. If you stayed this long, thank you. I hope you found this informative. And yeah, that was like really interesting to dig through. There's a lot of little nuances to the different websites. But if you are curious, I will have all the websites linked in the description below. And again, I've said a gazillion times in this video, if you have any questions about if something is acceptable or unacceptable to send, please contact your local OCC website. They'll be able to let you know. I think the Canadian and US ones, they have like a nice little search bar. Those some items you could type in. Oh yeah, like soap. On the Canadian one, you could type it in and it'll say like, please email us. And like, oh, we'll see what happens to soap in Canada. Hopefully it's still sendable, because it's a hygiene item. I think it's really important to send. But anyways, I digress. Have yourselves a good day. I think, let me know if you're interested in a video about all the little other nuanced differences between the sending countries. I might just put one together. But yes, collection week is upon us. Happy shoeboxing. You just have a few days left to get your shoeboxes together. Hopefully this helps you. Stay blessed. Bye.